high school agriculture education teacher, and I teach animal science. So this past week, I was teaching a lab that I always do on livestock nutrition and feed analysis, and we talk about how there are different feedstuffs and how they have to be combined to sometimes give animals the nutrition that they don't necessarily know that they need, but otherwise they would pick out feeds that they want. So what we do is we take a cereal such as Fruit Loop for this example, and I tell them to take the Fruit Loops and pour them out on the table, and with a partner they always just divide it out into the different colors that they have. So they might they'll have a stack of blue, a stack of green, a stack of purple, a stack of red, and it's pretty simple. So I say, if you were a pig or a cow and your favorite food was the red Fruit Loops, how easy would it be for you to only eat red and eat nothing else? Pretty easy. So then we take all the Fruit Loops, we put them back in the bag together, and we smush them as fine as we can. So by the end of our breaking session, we have powder. With that powder, I have a bag full of powder here, and I'm going to pour it back out on the same table, a napkin, and pick out their red Fruit Loops now. It's a little bit harder. So the purpose of this lab in animal nutrition is to show why we pelletize and crumble and smash feeds for livestock so that they get everything that we know that they need, that they don't know they need, instead of just what they want. So this past week, doing this lab, drew a connection to educational silos. So there are numerous silos within the P-20 spectrum. For example, there's a very obvious one of elementary ages, middle school ages, and high school ages. There's different background silos. I know in my school in particular, we're about 56% Hispanic population. And with that, it really seems like there are cultural silos within our school. There's also silos of academics versus sports and CTAE, which is Career Technical and Agricultural Education, which inside in itself has silos of CTA. We have STEM when we talk about curriculum development, science, technology, engineering, and math. And more, I feel like we are seeing these silos being broken down or combined, but they still exist, whether we want to or not. So how do we break down the silos so students and faculty are impacted by all areas instead of just the one that they're in? I know for me, it's really easy to stay in my classroom and to work with my FFA students and my ag students and forget about everything else that's going on in the school. What I do get reminded of often is, because we're such a small school, we have about 100 per class, so about 450 in the entire school. Lots of students are spread out among extracurricular activities. So those silos of sports, CTAE, work-based learning, those individual silos are broken down without the students even realizing that they're doing it. But one problem that I do see is that coaches, sometimes advisors, employers, they don't think about breaking down the silos and how influential it could be to those children if those silos were broken down and if those students could be involved in all things instead of just that one. Yes, it is important for them to learn employability skills and important for them to earn money in high school and to take on that role. It's also important for them to be involved in extracurricular activities like sports and like CTAE organizations, student organizations, clubs. So, my philosophy is to start them while they're young and start them where they are if you can't start while they're young. So if you look, I have some pictures here of just some things that I have initiated in our ag program at my school and in our FFA program. So in the center, we have students who are dissecting owl pellets. To me, that is part of that science integration into agriculture, breaking down those walls of academics and CTAE and extracurricular. So two of the classes that I teach, animal science, included in that, are actual science classes that students can earn credits towards graduation outside of their electives, but actually as a science class. I have really and truly valued having that as an asset to my program, not for my benefit, but for the students' benefit of seeing that this can all come full circle. We can break those silos down. When we talk about elementary, middle, and high school education, I began my journey as an agriculture teacher at the same high school as a middle and high school teacher. There was no middle school program, definitely no elementary school program. And when I was hired, I was taught you will teach middle and high until we see there's a need for one of each. So I went in, taught middle and high school, and got to the point to realize that the school realized that this was not just one large silo of agriculture education. There was a need for integration all the way through. And now we're working on having an elementary program and an elementary school teacher to show that these silos need to be broken down and everything needs to be combined from start to finish. So I was able to meet my school where they were and move toward breaking down those silos. Another example, I had a student who entered my high school 9th grade basic ag class named Oscar. Now, Oscar moved to America from Mexico when he was in middle school. He knew no English and he was fully immersed in English-speaking classes, academics, and everything. So when he'd been in America for 2 years, whenever he was working on his 3rd year when he entered my classroom, and he didn't say much, but he would make 100s on everything. He was super successful in my classroom in particular. And I could tell he was interested in what we were doing. So Oscar, I had him stay after school one day and I said, buddy, what, are you interested in doing anything in FFA? Have you ever thought about doing anything in FFA? And he said, it's just not my culture. Kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I said, what do you mean it's not your culture? And he said, well, I came from Mexico, and he told me a little bit of his backstory, and he said, I just don't know if it's something I can do. And it floored me to think that somebody with so much potential didn't realize what he could do because of the silo he felt like he was in. So after discussing with Oscar and getting him involved in some CDEs and those type of things, he actually became FFA president his senior year. He graduated last year in 2022 he graduated and became a student at Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College, majoring in agriculture education, and he was an ABAC ambassador, and he is currently in Washington, D.C. on an internship and with a senator. So Oscar has moved this full realm and he is the definition of breaking down silos. Everything that he's always been told he should be and where he was supposed to be, he's broken down and he's gone above and he's gone beyond. And I feel like I'm not to fully take credit for that, but I was part of that journey, and I hope that I can be. So my philosophy is to meet them where they are. And just like the feedstuffs, we have to break them down so that they know they can be impacted by everything and that they don't have to choose just one. You don't always know what's good for you until it's exposed.